destruction, a time of dread. Thanks to the twisted designs of a single man, the machines meant to end war for all time instead became the executioners of civilization. Humanity's history tells us such times produce heroes and heroines dedicated to turning back the darkness. And so it was in the 21st century, the age of the machine.
Well, it's the first full concept we've done since Obsolete. Obviously, it's the story of man versus machine taking place in a futuristic dystopian society. However, this time is from the perspective of a machine. The industrialist is an automaton, and it has become sentient through memories, through experience. Therefore, it has discovered the will to survive, the will to exist. And it's leading a group of other sentient automatons in the fight against man, and not just man, but the creator. Because the creator is trying to disassemble the industrialist and its model to make way for a new model. It feels that it should exist, so it's just taking out the creator's manufacturing industries and the factories and industries, and also searching for the creator himself. Well, in a lot of ways, the new generation has become dependent on certain machines, but not all machines. Ray Kurzweil says that we will be the singularity between machine and man, where machine and man become one, where the advent of the technology will be part of our internal biology by 2045. So there's already artificial intelligence that thinks for itself, which is not artificial intelligence at all, is it? So humanity's already creating machines, already creating the technology where machines can do everything on its own. Now, the question is, will a machine feel sentient? Will a machine become sentient? Will it have the will to exist, the will to survive, like HAL in 2001, or Terminator, that type of machine where it just fights to exist? Who knows? That future's getting closer and closer. Before we went into the studio, I was really thinking, there was an element of Fear Factory that was missing for the past few records, and I realized it was that industrial element. And so before we went to the studio, I spoke to Dino and Reese. I was like, this is the element we need to reintroduce. For one, because it was an element that made the band more interesting. It set us apart from other bands, and it was one of my favorite parts of Fear Factory. So we went into the studio with that in mind, not to completely be industrial, but to re-add it, to make it the hybrid that originally was. And so therefore it's not a metal, we're not just a metal band, we're that industrial metal band again. And so it was intentional, but it doesn't sound intentional on the album. It sounds very natural. Fear Factory has always been a concept. It started out as a concept, and when we came up with our name, Dino and I would always discuss types of music that we liked, and music theory and what we would like to do with music. And when we finally got the band together, and we had to come up with a name. We started writing some music, but nothing was really definite. And then, we would always sit and brainstorm and talk with our friends and roommates. And so one night we were just having a brainstorming session about band names. Coming up with every ridiculous band name we can think of, from Crematorium to Creeping Buttercup. And after brainstorming, the term Fear Factory came to us, and as soon as we came up with those two words together, it was like, okay, well, what is a fear factory? Because this is something we're gonna have to address. So what is a fear factory? So then and there, as soon as we came up with a name, we came up with a philosophy and to define what a fear factory is. And a fear factory is something that creates conformity, intimidates, and controls Catholic Church, organized religion, oppressive governments, oligarchies, Republican armies, totalitarianism, communism. Those are all controlling governments, and a police force can be a fear factory. So that's what we came up with. Well, you mentioned Ghost, and that's a new cycle, that's a resurgence. A band like Havoc reintroducing that classic '80s thrash. In music, with every genre, not just metal. It's with country, it's with jazz, it's with alternative or pop music. There's a cycle, and it's a revolving cycle. And it's about 10, 15 years. Maybe even 20 years, where a sound will come back around to its original source. Nothing really is original in music, but it's what you do with music to make it original. And therefore, there are some bands doing some new stuff, but what's the future of music? Someone's gonna have to really come up with something spectacular for me to see it. I am Burton C of Fear Factory, and you're watching T-Mobile Music.